The village of Ajani bustled with its usual morning activities. Market stalls opening, elders exchanging greetings, and children running around with boundless energy. But today, there was an unusual excitement in the air. Word spread quickly that a prince was arriving from the neighboring kingdom. Prince Nuru, known for his striking looks and charm, rode into Ajani with grace, dressed in elegant robes that shimmered under the sun. His tall frame, smooth skin, and piercing gaze captivated the villagers who gathered to see him. As Nuru dismounted his horse, he flashed a warm smile, greeting those around him with humility and kindness. The young maidens, in particular, were transfixed by his presence, their hearts racing as he walked past. They whispered among themselves, blushing and giggling, completely taken by his charm. It was as if a spell had been cast on them, and the prince was the enchanter. Unaware of the stir he was causing, Nuru was simply enjoying the village's warmth and hospitality. Yet, beneath the surface, his arrival was stirring emotions and desires that would soon change the village forever. The following morning, Nuru awoke to the sounds of Ajani's lively streets. Eager to explore, he stepped outside and found himself surrounded by villagers curious about him. He greeted each person warmly, asking about their lives, their work, and their traditions. The villagers were thrilled by his genuine interest, and many young women lingered around, hoping for a moment of his attention. Nuru's charm was undeniable, and his easy laughter and warm gestures made each maiden feel noticed and cherished. As the day wore on, he found himself surrounded by a small group of maidens who laughed at his every joke, their eyes shining with admiration. They each found themselves hoping for his favor, wanting to be the one who captured his attention above all others. The village elders, watching from afar, felt an uneasy tension in the air. What had once been a united group of friends and neighbors was beginning to change. Nuru's charm, though innocent, was causing ripples in the village, and the unity that defined Ajani was slowly beginning to shift. In a village captivated by the prince's arrival, Amina, the chief's daughter, was one of the few who remained cautious. Amina was known for her wisdom and strength, traits she inherited from her father. While her friends were entranced by Nuru's charm, Amina watched from a distance, noticing how quickly the maiden's behavior shifted. They were usually close friends, but now they seemed to compete for Nuru's attention, casting envious glances at one another. That evening, Amina spoke with her father, sharing her concerns about the prince's influence. His presence is stirring feelings that may lead to conflict, she warned, but her father dismissed her worries. A prince brings honor to our village, Amina. He is our guest, and we must welcome him, he advised. Still, Amina couldn't shake the unease growing within her. Determined to protect the harmony of Ajani, she resolved to observe Nuru closely, hoping her concerns would prove unfounded. Little did she know, her intuition was right, and the prince's charm would soon test the village's unity in ways she could never have anticipated. With each passing day, Nuru's flirtations grew more intentional, and the maidens, now completely captivated, vied openly for his favor. What had once been friendly conversations became battles for his attention, with each girl hoping to outshine the others. Close friends turned into rivals, and the light-hearted laughter they once shared became forced smiles and glances filled with jealousy. The harmony that had defined their bonds was eroding, replaced by a silent, growing tension. The village elders, sensing the shift, grew concerned as they observed the maiden's changing behavior. Nuru, however, seemed blissfully unaware of the turmoil he was causing. To him, his attention was a way of showing kindness and appreciation, a harmless way to enjoy the company of beautiful young women. Yet, the seeds of discord had been planted, and each day they grew stronger, altering relationships and testing the unity of Ajani. The village's spirit, once unbreakable, was now fragile, hanging by a thread that only Amina seemed determined to protect. Determined to address her concerns, Amina sought out Nuru the next day. She found him by the river, surrounded by a group of maidens who hung on his every word. With confidence, she approached him, ignoring the suspicious stares of her friends. "Prince Nuru, may I speak with you privately?" she asked, her tone respectful but firm. Surprised, Nuru nodded and followed her to a quieter spot. Once they were alone, Amina spoke plainly. "Your actions are causing divisions among the maidens," she began. "Friends are turning against one another, and the harmony of our village is suffering." Nuru, taken aback, tried to reassure her. "I never meant any harm, Amina. I only sought to bring joy to your people." But Amina held his gaze, unyielding. "Sometimes, Prince, what begins as innocent admiration can lead to deep wounds," she warned. Though her words lingered in his mind, Nuru brushed them off, unable to see the true impact of his charm. For Amina, however, the confrontation was only the beginning of her efforts to protect her village. As days turned into weeks, the maidens of Ajani found themselves competing fiercely for Nuru's favor. What had once been innocent flirtations now felt like battles, each woman seeking to prove herself more worthy of the prince's attention. Friends who had grown up together, shared secrets, and supported one another were now divided by jealousy and rivalry. Smiles were replaced by cold stares, and laughter was lost amid the quiet resentment building among them. Nuru noticed the change, yet he dismissed it, believing it would pass. His charm had always brought him admiration, and he saw no harm in entertaining the attentions of the young women who surrounded him. But what he didn't realize was how deeply his presence had altered the fabric of Ajani. The village was now on the brink of a rift that could tear its people apart. Amina, observing the deepening discord, grew more concerned, recognizing that if something wasn't done soon, the village might lose the unity it had cherished for generations. Seeing the village slipping further into discord, Amina decided to take matters into her own hands. She gathered the maidens who were once close friends, now separated by jealousy. Under the shade of a towering baobab tree, Amina addressed them, her voice filled with both warmth and firmness. "Look at yourselves," she began, her eyes moving from one friend to another. "We were once united. The strength of Ajani lies in our bond, and if we lose that, we lose the heart of our village." Some of the maidens lowered their heads, recognizing the truth in her words. But others, still entranced by Nuru's charm, muttered defensively, questioning why Amina was interfering. Seeing the resistance, Amina spoke more openly. "Prince Nuru's charm isn't evil, but our obsession with it has made us forget our loyalty to each other. If we don't mend our hearts, we risk tearing apart everything we hold dear." A few maidens nodded, their faces softening. Though not all were ready to listen, Amina's rallying call planted the first seeds of reflection. Her words stayed with them, gently reminding them of the unity they'd always cherished. Nuru, unaware of Amina's rallying efforts, continued to enjoy the attention, though he began to sense an undercurrent of unease. He noticed how some maidens cast envious glances at each other and how laughter was sometimes forced around him. As he walked through the village one evening, he overheard two maidens arguing in low voices about him. Their words stung, not because of what they said, but because they hinted at something deeper, a change he hadn't anticipated. That night, he couldn't sleep, his mind circling back to Amina's words. He realized he might have unintentionally caused harm. His charm, which had always won him admiration and respect, now felt like a heavy weight, pulling at his conscience. The admiration he once found flattering now felt hollow, and he began to wonder if Amina's concerns were valid. Though reluctant to admit fault, Nuru resolved to speak with her again, hoping to find a way to restore the peace he had unknowingly disrupted. The next morning, Nuru sought out Amina, finding her near the river where they'd first spoken. She looked up, her expression unreadable as he approached. "Amina, I owe you an apology," he began, surprising her. "You warned me, and I was too proud to listen. Now, I see the divisions that my presence has caused among your people." Amina softened, sensing the sincerity in his words. "Your charm, Prince Nuru, is powerful, but with power comes responsibility," she replied. "The maidens are not to blame for their feelings, nor are you fully to blame for your actions. But together, we must find a way to heal what has been damaged." Nuru nodded, humbled by her wisdom and insight. They agreed to work together, devising a plan to rebuild the unity of Ajani. For the first time, Nuru saw Amina not just as the chief's daughter, but as a powerful ally, one whose strength he deeply respected. Amina and Nuru decided to organize a village feast, hoping to create an opportunity for reconciliation. The idea was simple yet profound. Through shared joy, they could remind the villagers of their common bonds and long-standing friendships. Amina approached her father, the chief, who agreed to host the gathering with his blessing, understanding the importance of restoring harmony. The villagers buzzed with anticipation as preparations began. Everyone contributed. Some gathered firewood, others cooked, while the elders prepared stories to share around the fire. Nuru himself joined in, offering his hands to carry water and help with the decorations. The maidens, seeing him contribute so humbly, began to realize that his heart held more than charm. It held the potential for true respect and humility. By the time the feast was ready, A sense of shared purpose had begun to fill the air, slowly replacing the resentment that had threatened to divide them. As the sun dipped below the horizon, the villagers gathered under the stars, their spirits lifted by the evening's excitement. Amina took her place at the center of the gathering, standing beside her father and Prince Nuru. She addressed the villagers, her voice carrying both strength and compassion. "Tonight, we gather not only to celebrate but to remember what makes us strong, our unity and respect for one another." Her words resonated deeply with those gathered, and the maidens in particular felt a sense of relief, as if a weight had been lifted. They exchanged glances, some offering small smiles, recalling the friendships they had nearly lost. Nuru spoke next, his tone filled with humility as he expressed his gratitude to the village for welcoming him and his regret for any discord he had caused. The maidens listened, realizing he, too, was willing to grow and learn from his mistakes. As the night continued, laughter and conversation filled the air, slowly healing the wounds that had divided them. The morning after the feast, an elderly woman named Mama Sua approached Nuru. Known as the village sage, she had a reputation for her wisdom and keen insight into people's hearts. "Prince Nuru," she began, her voice calm but firm, "charm is a gift, but it can be dangerous if wielded carelessly. To lead, one must understand the hearts of their people, not simply win their favor." Nuru listened carefully, each of Mama Sua's words sinking in. She handed him a small, carved talisman, explaining, "Let this remind you of the balance between charm and humility. Carry it close, and remember that respect is earned not through admiration, but through genuine care." Nuru accepted the talisman, feeling its weight as a symbol of his journey toward wisdom. The village had given him more than friendship. It had given him valuable lessons that would shape him forever. With renewed resolve, he pledged to honor their trust and help maintain the peace they had worked so hard to restore. In the weeks following the feast, Nuru's humility and genuine desire to bring harmony to the village did not go unnoticed, especially by Amina. As she watched him work with villagers, taking part in daily activities and showing respect to everyone, Amina felt a shift within herself. Nuru was no longer the careless prince who had once caused discord. He was changing, and with each passing day, she found herself drawn to him, not because of his charm but because of the depth he was showing. Nuru, too, sensed Amina's respect growing, and he valued her insights more than ever. Her guidance had led him to better understand himself, and he felt indebted to her wisdom. They spent more time together, sharing stories about their cultures, their dreams, and the futures they envisioned. Through their conversations, a friendship blossomed, one rooted in respect and mutual understanding. It was unlike any connection he had felt before, and he realized that his admiration for Amina ran deeper than he'd initially thought. Not everyone, however, was pleased with Nuru's transformation and budding friendship with Amina. Among the maidens, one named Serde had been particularly enamored by him from the beginning. Unlike the others, she couldn't let go of her feelings, and seeing him spend so much time with Amina filled her with jealousy. Serde had hoped to win Nuru's heart herself and had dreamed of a life by his side. Serde's envy began to fester, and her once quiet admiration turned into a bitter resentment. She would watch them from afar, her gaze filled with frustration and longing. As the days passed, her emotions clouded her judgment, and she became determined to disrupt the bond between Nuru and Amina. She began sowing subtle seeds of doubt among the villagers, hinting that Nuru's intentions might not be as sincere as they seemed. The whispers that Serde started soon began to spread through the village, slowly poisoning the minds of those who listened. "A prince doesn't change so easily," Serde would say to the other maidens. "What if he's only pretending? What if he plans to leave us as soon as he tires of this life?" Her words began to take root, and villagers who had once praised Nuru's efforts started to question his sincerity. Amina noticed the shift, sensing the uncertainty growing around them. People who had been warm and welcoming were now cold and distant. When she asked her father, he explained the rumors, and Amina realized that someone was intentionally trying to turn the village against Nuru. Hurt and angry, she vowed to get to the bottom of it. Nuru's dedication was real, and she was determined to protect the progress they had made. Amina quickly suspected Serde as the source of the rumors. One evening, she approached her by the river, hoping to address the matter directly. "Serde, why are you spreading lies about Nuru?" she demanded, her voice firm. Serde, taken by surprise, feigned innocence but struggled to hide the bitterness in her expression. "He isn't one of us, Amina," Serde replied sharply. "You think he truly cares? A prince from another land, here to change everything." Amina held her ground, unshaken by Surday's accusations. "If you think Nuru isn't sincere, that's your choice, but poisoning others' minds only sows more discord," she said. Surday, realizing that her words had little effect on Amina, walked away, her heart still filled with envy. But Amina's warning lingered, and she started to question whether her jealousy was worth tearing the village apart. Meanwhile, Nuru had sensed the villagers' growing distrust and wondered if his efforts had been in vain. Determined to clear the air, he went to Amina, sharing his frustrations and the doubt that weighed on him. "I don't know if I can ever win back the trust I've lost," he confessed. "Maybe I should leave before I cause more harm." Amina listened intently, her heart heavy with empathy. "Leaving now would only prove the rumors true," she replied gently. "Stay, show them who you really are. Those who see the truth will come around." Nuru felt comforted by her words, and he realized that her unwavering support was a source of strength for him. In that moment, he felt something deeper than friendship for Amina, something he dared not name but that gave him a renewed sense of purpose. Taking Amina's advice to heart, Nuru doubled his efforts to prove his sincerity. He joined the villagers in their daily tasks, often working from sunrise to sunset, sharing laughter and stories. Little by little, the rumors began to fade as people saw the lengths he was willing to go to earn their trust. The elders, who had been the most skeptical, slowly warmed to him, acknowledging his commitment and perseverance. One day, while working with a group of villagers, an elder named Kofi approached Nuru and placed a hand on his shoulder. "You've shown us the heart of a true leader, one who cares for his people," he said. Nuru felt a surge of gratitude and relief. Winning their trust was more fulfilling than any admiration he'd ever received. With each day, the fractures that had divided Ajani began to mend, and the unity Amina had fought to protect was slowly restored. With the village once more at peace, Nuru finally allowed himself to confront his feelings for Amina. He sought her out, finding her under the same baobab tree where they had first spoken. "Amina, your wisdom and strength saved not only me but the entire village," he began, his voice trembling slightly. "You've shown me what true love and loyalty mean, and my heart belongs to you." Amina's eyes softened, her heart swelling as she listened. "Nuru, I have watched you grow from a charming prince into a true leader. Your humility and kindness have won my heart as well." They stood in silence for a moment, their feelings finally shared. In that quiet moment under the baobab tree, they knew they had found something precious and lasting, a bond built on respect, trust, and love. News of Nuru and Amina's affection spread, and the villagers, who had once doubted Nuru, now celebrated their union. When Nuru approached the chief to ask for Amina's hand, he was met with a warm smile. "You have shown true dedication to our people, Nuru. It is an honor to welcome you as my son," the chief said, placing his hand on Nuru's shoulder. A wedding was planned, and the entire village buzzed with excitement. For the villagers, the union represented not just the love between Nuru and Amina but the restored harmony within Ajani. It was a joyous occasion, a reminder of the strength they had regained together. The village elders, maidens, and families prepared for the grand celebration, eager to mark this new beginning for their beloved prince and wise leader. On the day of the wedding, the village was transformed. Bright fabrics decorated every home, music filled the air, and a feast fit for royalty was prepared. People from nearby villages arrived to witness the union, eager to celebrate with the people of Ajani. Nuru and Amina stood together, radiant in traditional attire, their smiles reflecting their deep love and shared journey. As they exchanged vows, the crowd erupted in cheers, and the elders offered blessings, wishing them a life filled with wisdom, unity, and love. The maidens who had once competed for Nuru's attention watched with warm smiles, knowing that Amina's heart had always been the right match for him. The festivities lasted long into the night, filled with dancing, laughter, and joy. In the years following their wedding, Nuru and Amina dedicated themselves to building a stronger, more united village. They initiated gatherings where villagers could openly share concerns and ideas. These gatherings helped mend any remaining rifts, fostering a culture where every voice mattered. The couple emphasized that true leadership meant serving the people, and through their actions, they showed everyone what unity could achieve. Nuru, once known for his charm, now gained respect for his humility and wisdom. The elders observed with pride, noting that the prince who had once caused turmoil now embodied the values they cherished. As Nuru and Amina led Ajani, they encouraged everyone to take pride in their community, inspiring cooperation and compassion among the villagers. When Amina became pregnant, the village erupted in celebration. The elders offered blessings for the new life, and families prepared gifts, eager to welcome the future heir. But the pregnancy also brought challenges, testing Nuru and Amina's patience and resilience. Amina's health required extra care, and Nuru took on more responsibilities, balancing his duties with his concern for her well-being. Despite the difficulties, the couple found strength in each other. Late at night, Nuru would stay by Amina's side, offering comfort and sharing dreams of their child's future. Their shared journey deepened their love, reminding them of the power of partnership. The villagers admired the couple's dedication to one another, seeing their struggles as proof that true love required both sacrifice and commitment. Finally, Amina gave birth to a healthy baby boy, whom they named Olu, meaning strong in their language. The entire village rejoiced, and a grand celebration marked his birth. The people of Ajani saw Olu as a symbol of hope and continuity, a living testament to the unity that Nuru and Amina had nurtured within the village. As Olu grew, he became the beloved child of Ajani. The villagers would share stories with him, recounting the journey his parents had taken to bring peace and harmony to the village. From a young age, Olu absorbed these tales, learning the importance of compassion, humility, and respect. Nuru and Amina hoped he would grow up to honor their legacy and carry forward the values they had fought so hard to uphold. With Nuru and Amina's leadership, Ajani flourished like never before. The villagers worked together on projects to improve their surroundings, from constructing communal spaces to planting new crops. The village was no longer just a place of residence. It had become a thriving community that everyone took pride in. Amina, ever attentive to the needs of the people, introduced new initiatives to support women's rights and encourage young girls to take active roles in village life. She organized mentorship programs and led storytelling sessions, sharing wisdom that inspired the next generation. The women of Ajani felt empowered, seeing Amina as a role model, while Nuru encouraged the young men to lead with compassion and humility. One day, a traveler arrived in Ajani with stories of the outside world, stirring memories of Nuru's past adventures. The traveler's tales reminded Nuru of his life before Ajani and the choices he had made. As he listened, he felt a sense of unease, worried that his past might overshadow his present. That night, he shared his thoughts with Amina, confessing his fears that people would remember him as the prince who once disrupted their peace. Amina reassured him, "Your past brought you here, Nuru, but your actions define you now." Her words gave him comfort, reinforcing his resolve to continue building a future based on the values they had worked hard to instill. As Olu grew older, Nuru began to share stories of his own journey, including the mistakes he had made. He wanted his son to understand the importance of learning from one's past and striving for growth. Nuru explained how his actions had once hurt others and how he had worked to make amends, urging Olu to always lead with integrity. Olu listened intently, admiring his father's honesty and humility. The villagers, too, respected Nuru's openness, seeing it as a sign of true wisdom. In sharing his story, Nuru not only guided his son but also reminded the people of Ajani that growth came from acknowledging one's faults and working to become better. As the years passed, the village chief grew older and frail. He called Nuru and Amina to his side, expressing his desire to see them lead the village officially. "You two have become the heart and soul of Ajani," he said, his voice filled with pride. "When I pass on, I want the people to look to you." Though saddened by the chief's impending departure, Nuru and Amina accepted his request, vowing to honor his legacy. The chief's blessing filled them with gratitude and responsibility. They knew that the role was not just about authority but about serving the people and safeguarding the values that held the village together. The day came when the chief passed away peacefully, surrounded by loved ones. The village mourned, but they also celebrated his life, remembering his wisdom and kindness. Nuru and Amina were officially appointed as the village leaders, and their first act was to honor the chief by establishing an annual festival in his memory. The festival brought together people from neighboring villages, and Ajani became a beacon of unity and prosperity. Nuru and Amina led with humility, ensuring that everyone felt included and respected. They continued the chief's legacy, guiding Ajani through seasons of change and reinforcing the bond that had made their village strong. As the years turned into decades, Nuru and Amina's legacy lived on in Ajani. They had transformed the village from a place once shaken by discord into a community grounded in harmony, respect, and compassion. Olu grew up under their guidance, embodying the values they had instilled in him. The villagers often recounted tales of how Nuru's arrival had changed their lives and how, through his journey, he had become one of them. Nuru and Amina grew old together, their bond as strong as ever. They often sat under the baobab tree, reminiscing about the challenges they had overcome and the love that had guided them. When their time came, they left behind a legacy woven into the very fabric of Ajani, a legacy of unity, forgiveness, and resilience. Their story became a cherished legend, passed down through generations, a reminder of the power of love to heal and transform. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Kindly share, subscribe, and hit the bell button for more stories like this.